What are omega-6 fatty acids? Today, we're going to talk about everything you should know about them. Omega-6 fatty acids get a lot of buzz, but some of it is bad reputation. This nutrient, omega-6 fatty acids, often gets a lot of buzz, and some of it is giving it a bad reputation. So today, I want to talk about the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly, but really, are they so bad? And I just quickly want to introduce myself. My name is Marcy Vasky. I'm a licensed nutritionist with Fluso Nutrients. And at Fluso Nutrients, we work really hard to educate you on different kinds of supplements and nutrients. So helping you make a decision if you truly need that supplement or can you get it through food and just giving you more of an education. Now, if you are taking medications or supplements, make sure that you talk to a supplement practitioner or someone who's literate in supplements to help you navigate through that. We don't want to have any contraindications with what you may be taking, but this is all for good information and just to help you keep learning. So, what are omega-6 fatty acids? They're actually polyunsaturated fatty acids. And what that means is that they're actually a good fat that your body needs that it can't make on its own. The most common form of omega-6 that you may hear about is linoleic acid, which is usually found in nuts and seeds. So once it's in the body, linoleic acid is converted into fatty acids that are used for your gut health and your brain health, your immune system, and it does a lot of things. Therefore, it is very essential for our body. So we understand that omega-6s are essential to our health. But what makes them bad and how are they getting a bad reputation? So, this is where it gets a little interesting because some omega 6s can actually be converted into compounds that increase inflammation. Now, of course, some inflammation in the body is good, but when it's chronic or it's far too much inflammation, this is where we see a lot of problems. So, the problem really isn't that omega 6s are bad, it's that the balance between our fatty acids gets skewed. And what I mean by that is that we have to have a balance between our omega-6 fatty acids and our omega-3 fatty acids. And omega-6s can also be found in vegetable oils that are found in processed foods. So many Americans are eating a SAD diet, right? The standard American diet, which is filled with too many processed foods that have these damaged fats in them. So if we're consuming a lot of vegetable oils, we are getting far too many omega-6s versus not enough of our omega-3s. So if you're eating a balanced diet and you're incorporating nuts and seeds into your diet, that's where you're going to get those good linoleic acids or omega-6s. And if you're getting enough omega-3s, you're going to find that in chia seeds, salmon, flax seeds, things of that nature, and you're going to have a really healthy balance. However, as I said, if you're eating too many processed foods, that balance gets pretty skewed very quickly. So you may be asking yourself, okay, well, what is this balance? And the balance is 4 to 1. So 4 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. But in reality, if you're eating a processed foods diet, your balance is closer to something like 20 to 1. So 20 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. So you can see how omega-6s have gotten kind of a bad rap and create more inflammation because of that imbalance. So I've mentioned a couple foods that are higher in omega-6s, but there's also foods like poultry, also whole food oils like safflower oil, sunflower oil. Those are all going to be a healthy form of omega-6s. Whereas those overprocessed sources of omega-6s like soybean oil, vegetable oil, corn oils, fried foods, packaged foods, all of those are going to have way much more omega-6s and not a healthy kind. So, as I mentioned, fearing omega-6s isn't something we need to be doing, especially if you're eating the healthy forms and you're getting enough of the omega-3s. So, it's essentially just keeping that balance of 4 to 1 and not 20 to 1. So, making sure that you're getting rid of processed packaged foods as much as possible and really leaning into eating a whole foods diet, enough proteins, those healthy carbohydrates, grains, seeds. and nuts. And all of those things are going to help keep that balance really well so that you're not creating more inflammation by having too many omega 6s. Now, if you're really deficient in omega 6s, which can happen, especially if this imbalance is happening, and I know I like if you're eating too many of processed packaged foods, you're going to have a high amount of inflammation in the body. However, you can supplement with omega 6s, and that can help to bring a better balance of healthy omega 6 fatty acids, right? So it's that omega 6 like that you'd find in nuts and seeds and poultry, safflower oil, sunflower oil. So sometimes, even if we're having a lot of processed packaged foods, because it's such an inflammatory response that we're getting, we need to increase our omega 3s, right? So we can do supplementation for that, but best to do food, always to do nutrition first. And there's also omega 6s. Now, what happens is that sometimes we can't convert our omega 6s or our omega 3s very well in our body. Sometimes we have a breakdown of an enzyme that actually helps to convert that. And this is where supplementation can come into play. I'm going to link some supplement down below where if you are feeling that you need some healthier omega 6s as you're taking out those processed foods and changing your diet around, you can check it out. And I hope that this video kind of give you a little bit more insight into omega 6s, omega 3s. It gets confusing. People keep talking about how horrible omega 6s are. And yes, in some forms, they're not going to be good for you, 100%. But when you're sticking to a whole food diet, then there should be no concern. So again, I hope this helped you. Thanks for watching today, and I will link that supplement down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.